Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Winners Ways podcast. This is your show if you want to learn how to grow in your career or grow your business. And today we have a special guest with us. We have Jonathan Rosenfield. And Jonathan is an attorney in Chicago, and he is helping people involving in serious injury, to protect them. Jonathan is a business owner. He has the experience of growing business. And today we are going to be talking with Jonathan about how to use the power of network to grow your online business. Without keeping you guys waiting any further, I'm going to bring my guest in so that we can have this conversation. Hey, Jonathan, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm thrilled to have you, man. Thank you for coming. I know it's a beautiful Saturday morning here. The weather is quite warm, but it's still beautiful. So it's good to have you. Hey, Jonathan, can you please introduce yourself to my audience so that they can get to know you better?
Sure. Well, professionally, I am the owner, founder, managing attorney at Rosenfeld Injury Lawyers in Chicago. We handle cases pretty much all over the country. Many of our cases, involve everything from, traditional auto accident cases that are pretty, relatively straightforward. We handle quite a few medical malpractice cases, work injury cases, and we also handle a lot of cases involving recalled pharmaceutical drugs. Outside, when I'm not, practicing law, I am married. I've got two wonderful kids, and I pretty much enjoy doing almost anything uh, active and outdoor. So that keeps me pretty busy.
I love outdoor as well. So in Chicago, I'm just wondering what kind of outdoor activities do you guys typically do?
Well, it depends. If you get the great 3 months a year of perfect weather,
Yes.
I'll run, I'll swim outside. And then unfortunately things start turning, depending on the year and everything can get pretty cold and dreary. But I still try to get outside. I have a fat bike with snow tires on it, so I'm ready for anything.
Oh, that's awesome. I know the weather is getting cold and cold plus windy in Chicago. That's not a good combination to that anyone want to go outside, but
It
I'm
depends
glad
what it depends what you like.
yeah.
I'll take a pass on it though.
So, Jonathan, you, of course, you are a businessman and you know how to grow business. Let's talk about the power of networking in terms of growing business. Why do you think it's good to have the right network, or how important is it to have network when growing your business?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, any business, no matter how smart you are, how talented you are, ultimately you need customers or clients, regardless of the business type. And getting those, people to call you or walk into your store or whatever it is really needs to be a priority for a business owner. So, I mean, there's a zillion ways to skin the cat, if you will. You can use, your immediate friends and family and sort of rely on that depending on who they are and what their what your demographic is. But most people don't have that group at their beck and call, so they actually have to actively develop that. And there's different ways of doing it. I think the biggest thing that people need to do is they need to realize that that's part of their job. That's part of in addition to, as a business owner, maybe managing people and, doing some accounting, that, the business development side of things, the networking side of thing needs to be a priority that you need to consistently put time into. So, there's different ways of doing it. You can network with other professionals. If you are a professional, you can network with, um, former clients or customers. You can host different types of events. And you can also do, really, now you can do quite a bit of networking online. where you can be on LinkedIn, you can be, on a lot of these social media platforms. So there's a lot of different avenues of doing it. I think the biggest thing that people need to do is just sort of pick their lane and be consistent.
Okay. I always like to break things down so that people will understand better. When
Sure.
we are talking about networking, yeah, what is networking? Maybe someone out there comes to you and say, "Hey, Jonathan, what do you mean by networking? What does that mean?"
Yeah, I just think of it as just connecting with people.
Connect.
It doesn't have to be, there's different types of networking, there's different types of relationships, but at the end of the day, it's just, meeting someone, building that connection and, putting that in place for, both immediate and long-term success. A lot of times if you're at a party and you meet someone and you introduce that, yourself to them, and vice versa, on the surface you may have really nothing in common, but maybe 3 6 months, a year down the road, they may come in contact with someone else who may have a similar interest or similar business, and that's how things start rolling and start developing. So I just think it's important that people just get out. For some people it's more of a natural thing than for others. Some people who are very introverted, it's a real effort to do that. But regardless, everyone's got their skill set. It just has to be something that you develop.
Absolutely. And I do agree with that. So networking is about connecting with people, developing relationship with them, and growing that relationship. You say that for some people, especially those that are introverts, it may be challenging, to go out there and connect with people. And my wife recently started this group of ladies. She said she wanted to bring them out for ladies to just go out, go get a spa, go for yoga, things like that. And that way she was building a network of people around her. And I think that is very, very important. So thank you very much, Jonathan, for sharing that with us. Now, let's talk about online marketing. I know COVID has changed the role for most people, not for the world. Let's put it that way. What is online marketing, and how can my audience take advantage of online marketing to grow their business?
Well, we're gonna have to put aside a good chunk of a good chunk of time, but no, seriously, online marketing, is really there's a zillion different aspects to it. It's not, it's really in some sense, it's just evolving of the traditional networking meeting, if you will, but it's just on a much, much larger platform. So when you're, online marketing to me is, again, it's just building those relationships. It's exposing your product, your service to a particular demographic, and really educating people. I think, a lot of times people think about online marketing or marketing in general as, hitting someone over the head with your message, sell, 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 sell. And I think that is sort of a little bit passe. It's a little bit dated. I think today people are a lot more sophisticated. They're really looking for information. They're, by the time they get online and they're looking for a product or for a service, they've probably done quite a bit of legwork ahead of time, and they're probably fairly educated about it. So as a marketer, I think it's important that you shift your mindset from, sell, sell, sell to educate and inform and sort of help foster those relationships. At the end of the day, I think people that builds trust. And I think when people see that you're, giving information away, that goes a long way towards ultimately developing them into a money paying,
So,
customer or client.
so marketing is not just only about sell, sell, sell. You have to educate, you have to build trust, and you have to prove yourself to show the audience that your product will, of course, solve their problems. So that's important. What platforms will be your go-to platform when it comes? Maybe you can one or two.
No, No, it just depends on, really depends on your niche.
Okay.
It depends on your business. It depends on, what, where your customers are. I mean, you can get on Facebook and you can develop a network, on Facebook. You can, if you're doing B2B, you probably want to be on LinkedIn.
Mhm. Yeah.
But in any sense, regardless of what what your business is and what your demographic is, you really probably need a website that's sort of your home base that has all of your information on there that sort of ties everything together where people can, you know, it's relatively easy nowadays to, Google someone or whatever. But in terms of just actually getting contact, you really want to have them come through a website, probably.
Yeah, that's crucial. You have to have a website as a business. So when it comes to business and growing, what areas will you suggest business owners to start investing in?
In terms of
Gr-
uh
Growing the
what in terms
business. Yeah.
Oh, growing the business.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I would probably suggest, people spend time developing their website content. A
Content.
lot of times people, they get a website, they're, super excited about it. A lot of times it's real pretty, the pictures look great. And then they just let it sit. And, it doesn't do a whole lot of good having a pretty website with, some pictures on it if you're not actively developing it. So, we spend quite a bit of time developing content for the website. The written word still goes very far today. You can have videos which are fantastic, but unless you are, have a video editing background or someone who can help you with that, it can be very, very time consuming and very, very difficult. So, we spend quite a bit of time developing content. We develop content related to what our clients actually may be looking for. So in that sense, we do a lot of frequently asked questions. You can, if you're in, regardless of what type of business you're in, it's relatively easy to locate that information. If you go to just do a Google search at the bottom of the page, or depending on where you are in the vertical, it'll say people also ask.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you start developing content with that information, that will go a long way towards actually helping your website rank and getting people to it. So there's just different ways of doing it, but that's something that seems to be working for us and seems to obviously be always be evolving.
Okay. And I know one of the many ways that a business can use to grow is to ensure that they have that competitive edge, and I'm talking about how a business can differentiate itself from the rest. What are some ways that you think or that you would suggest that business owners look into in terms of how to differentiate themselves from their competitors,
You
competition?
know, sure. I mean, obviously every business today is competitive. And obviously there's you want to concentrate things on the front end, getting people to your business. So you can do that by different marketing. We talked about websites, we talked about different types of networking, but I think one of the things that other things that business owners tend to neglect is they really neglect on the conversion. you know if someone contacts your business, your whatever it is, it's really important that you have someone picking up the phone who's knowledgeable, who's compassionate, who can answer questions they may have. And you do it quickly. If someone calls whatever at 8 o'clock at night, they want a response. And if you wait until 9, 10 o'clock the next morning, in most situations that person's probably moved on to someone else. So it's really important that you just make the customer experience front and center, and really put energy into that in terms of getting your staff to assist you if you're not the one who's answering the calls directly.
Oh, that's so good. We've talked about networking, I see you talk a lot about people. Are there some traits that you look for when working with other people?
I don't know if they're tricks. They're when I work with other people, whether in the law or in any other business or whatever, I really just want someone who's dedicated, who's invested in their business. I don't want to deal with people who you know are sort of doing it as a 9 to 5, and as soon as 5:01 they're out the door, and they're going to deal with it the next day. I want to work with people who are really committed to the success of their business, and ultimately those are the people who tend to have more success. It doesn't necessarily matter how great you are at a particular job if you are not genuinely invested in it.
What is your definition for success, Jonathan?
I guess it depends. I guess it depends on the area of my life and the time and everything. But I think success is basically doing your best, and maximizing your opportunities. There's different, obviously there's different opportunities for different people. There's different, you know, measures of that. But if you are really investing, full effort into your business, yourself, um you know and things work out, great. If they don't work out, you know what, you did your best, and I think that's really goes a long way towards being content.
Okay, doing your best. And Jonathan, you have said that when it comes to running a business, that it is indeed a marathon, right? And successful people need to establish a solid foundation in order to set themselves up for success. When it comes to that solid foundation, what do you mean? What are the things that we should look out for when it comes to building that solid foundation that you were talking about?
I guess the first thing is to just make sure that you yourself are invested in the business. Not everyone, a lot of people start businesses, and a lot of people, frankly, they fold their business. And it doesn't necessarily, I'm not saying this in a critical sense. I mean, maybe it's not the right thing for you. But I think it's important that people, when they are invested in it, they really just go in whole hog, and they make, they're just committed to the long-term success. A lot of times people don't realize, they get discouraged, it's slow, it's not working like they envision, and sometimes they just throw the towel in. But most businesses, it takes quite a bit of time, quite a bit of effort, way more time, way more effort than most people anticipate going in. So I would just say, be patient with yourself and just keep chipping at it.
Oh, it takes time, indeed. I totally agree with you on that. And when talking with you right now, I remember that in my career I have mentors, and I'm thinking that business owners they also do need mentors. What do you think are the roles of mentors or business coaches for a business owner and to people out there that don't have any business coach or mentors or whatever you want to call it? What advice or recommendation do you have for them?
Well, a lot of times, people, they may not have a title as a business coach, but a lot of times you can learn a lot from, your friends, your family, some of your colleagues, in terms of, what is working for them, what's not working for them, what they've experienced in the past, what they're going through. And you'd be surprised. A lot of times people, they're very, very willing to open up and to give that information, and they're almost flattered when you ask them, for help or for input. So I would just, look at people, around you, see what they're doing, see if they're happy, see what, and then you know go to them and ask them questions. A lot of times people are hesitant to ask questions about anything. And I always find that when I do ask questions, not only, is it helpful for me, but the person I'm asking is very, very willing and very flattered that I actually ask them for assistance. So I would just, encourage people to do that.
Well, that's so good. And you just talk about asking questions, and I'm thinking about what differentiates successful people from those that are still struggling. And I think asking questions, especially around those things that you don't know, can be a good thing that will add value, that will help people to improve themselves, right? And that's important in my opinion. Now, I just talked about maybe success. And successful people, they have habits, they have qualities, so to speak. What, in your opinion, are some daily rituals
Yeah.
or habits that
Yeah.
you feel strongly about?
Well, I mean, it sounds real cliche, but I mean, there's not, I spend time, working out, exercising. I think it's important that, people are active. I don't know, there's some studies, I don't know them, but I genuinely feel better physically, mentally, after I've, done some exercise. So that's an important part, of my day that I spend, and I also get time to myself, so I spend, time in the morning doing that. Taking downtime is also important, you know. Um, if you go 24/7, you're gonna get burnt
Oh,
out.
no.
You're
Yeah.
gonna get crabby, it's gonna be a difficult journey for you. So, you got to take some time out for yourself. And then, I guess just, um, as far as daily, rituals go, I mean, I think it's important that you spend time with your family and you put time into things other than your work. If you're so focused on your work and you don't have other interests or hobbies, and again, you sort of lose perspective on things. And sometimes, you know when you're doing these other projects, you'll get ideas about how, spontaneously, how to, improve your business or yourself.
Oh, wow. That's so good, Jonathan. Exercise, making sure that you have some downtime to just relax, not do anything. I think that's important. And spending time with the family. That's so good. I like that. Now, when we think about the world that we live in today, there are so many unhappy people moving around. Why do you think that is?
um Probably, there, I don't know, people could be stressed from various reasons. But I think a lot, at the very bottom of it, it's because people don't have control over, you know different aspects of their life. And then when you feel like you're not in control, it can make you, sad. It can make you depressed. It can make you despondent. So I think, even if you have a job where you have to be somewhere at a certain time, and obviously you have responsibilities, but if you can somehow manage to carve out some time that, for something that you're not obligated to do, for yourself, I think that, makes people happier. A lot of times when people just do things for other people, whether it's their job or their family or whatever, they feel like they don't have any time for themselves, and that sort of, you know can put stress on them. And I think if you do take time for yourself, that really goes a long way towards, making you more content.
That's good. So I'm a goal-oriented person. This is December 2022. We are going to 2023. Are there things maybe in your business, Jonathan, that you do, to prepare you for the coming year? Like, for some people, it's quarterly. For some, maybe, or you are taking a look at 2023. Maybe you achieved certain things in 2022, or maybe you want to diversify your business and start looking into some other areas. What are those things that you are doing or that you are looking for to do in 2023?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important that regardless of what business you're in, you always are committed to improving yourself, your business, and when I say improving, it's a very general term. It can be, bringing in more customers. It can be, putting aside more time for yourself. It can be, maybe um, it can be getting rid of people in your business who may not be adding any value to it, or maybe detracting value to it. So I think there's a good time of year, regardless of what type of business you're in, to sort of take a step back, assess where you're at, and sort of start making some plans and maybe write down some goals for the coming year. A lot of times people, they just keep going and going and going, and they don't take a step back, and they lose the perspective as to how to keep their business moving in the right direction. So I would say, just put aside some time at this time of year and look back at what you've done and where you want to be.
That's so good. So as we are wrapping up, Jonathan, what are some, maybe do you have anything you want to share with my audience that we have not touched on?
No, you've done a great job. We've talked a lot about different things and in business and in life, and it's been really fun. So I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for the kind words. I love motivating people, and I give my audience, my guests, the chance to motivate my audience. Maybe in terms of, I know you may not be a motivational speaker, right? But maybe in terms of telling them that, hey, we talked about unhappy people, we talked about successful people, telling them that, hey, if I can do it in my life, then you should also be able to do it. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes? Do you have anything to tell us?
Yeah, I guess, you always start somewhere. And
Somewhere.
regardless of where you're at, there's people, again, I think one of the biggest misconceptions that people have is, well, hey, that person's just naturally successful, or that
Mhm.
person's naturally just good at whatever it is, whether it's some sport or cooking or whatever. And they really drastically underestimate the amount of time, effort that goes into um, that level of achievement. And I think that, just they have to just be patient with themselves and realize that everyone, has sort of the, experiences, sometimes second thoughts, second guesses themselves. And the people who, you may respect or you may emulate, have been through what you are, gone through before, currently, or have been through in the past. And just, keep moving. I think that just keep moving is probably, it sounds real, you know, boring, if you will, but keep moving, and don't stop, I guess, is probably the best thing to do.
Oh, I love that. So start somewhere. Keep going, keep moving, don't stop. People should realize the importance of time. There's nothing like overnight success. You have to put in the effort. You have to put in the work. That's what Jonathan is telling you guys. And you have to be patient. There are people who have doubts on the journey, but the core thing is don't stop. Just keep going. Thank you very much for sharing that with us, Jonathan. So finally, where can my audience find you?
Well, I mean, we're on the different social platforms, but the probably the best way to reach us, if you're looking for an attorney, in Chicago or elsewhere, we're certainly available. And if you go to rosenfeldinjurylawyers.com, check out our website. We've got tons and tons of content, but feel free to fill out a form, or pick up the phone and reach out.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So, guys, connect with Jonathan. He is an experienced man. He is, from what I'm saying, is kind from our conversation, and he is there to help. He has that genuine interest in helping people. So, connect with him. Thank you very much, Jonathan, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great.
All right.